Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a new episode of what would normally be Flesh Wound Farce. However, there's a little bit of a backstory on this one, as today we are reviewing and discussing the fantastic 1988 Christmas classic known as Die Hard. Now, this all started earlier this month when we gave our Patreon members an opportunity to vote on which Christmas film we would review. Usually as comedies, however, Santa Todd was being very generous this year and suggested, what if I put Die Hard up on the Patreon to allow people to vote on it? And if they vote on it, then let it be so. Well, we actually had a tie. We had a tie with Christmas Vacation, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation 2, Cousin Eddie's Island Adventure, which was reviewed and discussed last week. That is available on YouTube if you'd like to check that out. However, for me, that felt like eating my vegetables before sinking my teeth into the meat. Being so thrilled to review and discuss this film, despite not actually being a comedy. This would actually be deemed a wild card episode, as it was voted on by the Patreon fans. Now, I know I said a lot before introducing myself, but this is the world's first and only combination trivia host and professional wrestling announcer of Chilean descent that currently resides in Southern California, Ozzy V. And with me, as always, on this program, first in the Northern California Bay Area, world famous juggler Greg Larson. How you doing, Greg?
Outside of the fact that this is not a Christmas movie.
Oh, we are not doing this right now.
Out the box. What is today?
Stop being a Grinch.
Happy New Year 2024.
Yeah, is this how you want to start 2024, Greg?
It is, because your intro is just as long as the Christmas Vacation trailer was last week. So, but
we couldn't stop his halfway through.
This is not a Christmas movie, and you're right. It is a classic because it's dated. But I'm doing all right outside of having to watch this film.
You're really trying to get on my nerves.
And
I know you too well. You're laying it on real thick.
Look, I was hopeful. I was actually coming into this hoping that I was going to get swayed because so many people have such strong opinions to this film on is it a Christmas movie. We've had many discussions on and off the air of this whole situation. And I thought, I'm going to give it a go. I will concede either, Home Alone, It's a Wonderful Life. Those can't be Christmas movies if I'm going to have this fight, So I went into it with, some anticipation, let's say, and I'm not feeling great coming out of it. How are you doing, Ozzy?
I've known you for so long that I know it would be just like you to put on this kind of face for however long we're on, and at the very end, you'd be like, yeah, actually, it was a really great movie. I love it, and it's totally a Christmas movie. I could see you doing that just to get on my nerves for the next 29 minutes, or however long we're going to be here. Also with us, ladies and gentlemen, Flesh Wound producer Todd, Santa Todd, allowing this to be voted on.
I'm already starting to regret it.
No, you are not. Do not lie.
Honestly, the discussion going on in our Discord as of the recording is what really inspired me.
Okay. If there's any Discord comments that would like to be thrown on here that I can respond to.
Well, I'll bring some up right now. We got some in the chat. I mean,
you want to save this for later after we talk about. Okay, we'll save this.
That's what
later.
I was doing.
Let's get into the review here.
We're not even doing the trailer?
No, I was gonna do the quick little rundown. Then I'm gonna throw to the trailer.
Oh, okay. I thought you were
excited to see still. So again, this is Die Hard, released on July 20th, 1988, with a runtime of 2 hours and 12 minutes, rated R. Todd, could you please roll this fabulous trailer?
Oh, you want to play trailer?
That's what I asked. You're hearing an air vent right now.
We thank you one and all and wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
It's Christmas Eve in L.A. But a team of terrorists.
You want money? What kind of terrorists are you?
Who said we were terrorists?
Have their own holiday plans.
And I'm telling you, you're just going to have to kill me.
Okay. We do it the hard way.
But the one thing they didn't plan on was New York cop John McClane.
Got invited to the Christmas party by mistake. Who knew? You really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy.
Yippee-ki-yay, mother.
And you'll have it.
They have already killed one hostage.
This channel is reserved for emergency calls only.
Lady, do I sound like I'm ordering a pizza?
To be fair, he does that now.
You really an American?
Only if New Jersey counts.
It doesn't.
What does he think he's doing today?
Job.
They're using artillery on us.
You idiot. It's not the police.
It's him.
Oh,
But he's an easy
Christmassy.
guy to like
Welcome to the party, pal.
and a hard man to kill. Bruce Willis. Die Hard.
And that was the trailer to the 1988 Christmas classic Die Hard, again released on July 20th, 1988. I apologize. With a runtime of 2 hours and 12 minutes, rated R, starring Bruce Willis, Bonnie Bedelia, Alan Rickman, directed by John McTiernan, and based off the book by Roderick Thorpe, at the screenplay by Jeb Stewart and Stephen E. D'Souza. So let's get started with this. Some initial thoughts on this. I'm not going to address the dead horse argument of whether or not it is a Christmas movie. I know it is, and anybody else who says it's not is wrong. So moving on from that and going
That's the whole
strictly,
point.
Wasn't
Strictly-
even released in the winter.
neither was It's a Wonderful Life. All right,
And
that was
not a
released in
Christmas
July.
movie. So
It's also not a Christmas movie.
yeah.
I say also, but I haven't given my opinion on this one. But I guess we're doing that later.
Okay. Yeah, no, we're doing this later because I have everything all ready to go. Right now, I'm looking at this as a movie, and initial thoughts on this when I was a kid, because when this movie came out, I was 4 years old. However, I kept seeing posters for it. Like when I go to the video store to like rent video games or wrestling videos or whatever, I'd see the cover for Die Hard. I see a poster of Die Hard, and I wasn't able to see it that young. And then I remember seeing the commercials for Die Hard 2, and I was like, man, I really need to see these movies. And finally, the day came when I got to watch it, and I've been in love ever since. Oh, and here we have Die Hard 2 is more of a Christmas movie than the original. The only thing Christmassy about Die Hard 2 is that it just takes place on Christmas. That is it. There's nothing, and where I'm gonna get into these similarities or these little details that make me believe and able to prove that this is a Christmas movie, but we'll be doing that a little bit later. How about Greg? Initial thoughts?
It's been a while since I've seen this film. I think most action movies are pretty plain. Like the action's fun. Don't get me wrong. Like it's fun to watch that part of it, but just like a lot of, and I'm sorry, Todd, you're gonna hate me for this. A lot of horror films, like I do feel there's not a lot of substance to the story. There's just like what it is. So. Like, I remember this was decent, and rewatching it, I was just like, gosh, it just feels dated,
Why, because they didn't have cell phones?
No, obviously. Yeah, but like, just like even I think the sound quality got to me. Like everything was like kind of tinny, like with the gunfire and everything. Like it didn't have I don't know. Maybe it was just I was playing it on my laptop. Maybe my speakers weren't great. I don't know. Like Todd, you saw it in theaters. Maybe it felt better in a theater, but like I just didn't. I don't know. Like I just didn't have that impact as like when I was a kid. It was just. I mean, it was an action flick. It was all right, But yeah, my thoughts on the Christmas movie thing.
We'll get to that later.
Okay. All right. But meh. So, and I may be slightly jaded because, Kevin Smith and Bruce Willis kind of had a thing. And so I kind of.
Yes,
right,
but
he
did you happen to read the Dogma insert that was located in the DVD when Alan Rickman read the plot for Dogma and called Kevin Smith and said, I want in on this movie?
Okay. Alan
What does
Rickman's
that
great.
And that's where, without the villain, you have nothing. So
No,
Alan Rickman here.
If anything, Alan Rickman made this like still entertaining. He's always fantastic. I'm never gonna hate on Alan Rickman. Like, there's no way to do that. And especially when he like cut into the American accent, like that was a good time. But yeah, it was
Arguably the best action movie of all time.
Arguably.
Thank you. No, but I mean, it
Arguably.
was all right. You don't call it all right and something's arguably the best. You call it
It's-
great, maybe the best action movie out there, but it's still great. You know, say it was all right. The best, one of the best action movies out there, but it was all right. That doesn't happen.
It's no Commando.
or Bionic Commando. Tropic Thunder, let's go.
You want me to talk about the Commando connection?
Yeah,
Valverde?
no, yes.
They're all in the same
in the
universe.
same universe.
Dude,
Yeah, we can get to that. I mean, you can jump into that, but,
Well,
but please discuss your initial thoughts first.
Now, okay. Well, you want my initial thoughts? I saw this in summer of '88. What would I be? 13 years old. I'm 12 or 13. I loved it. I mean, obviously, it is nonstop action.
And how do you feel about watching it today?
Oh, you want my theatrical experience? But that
Well,
also
I mean,
kinda,
like you had your initial thoughts, and then I'm just curious. So comparing
I've-
your initial thoughts when you were 13 walking out of the theater versus last weekend walking out of the theater.
well, I mean, I still love it. I also do think this is the film that destroyed the '80s action picture, because we went from having action stars to little guys.
Right.
So, and I think this is like, so now we got like, I don't know, Ryan Gosling is like an action star, which I don't get, but whatever. So, I mean, it did some bad, but
It's
still a
why it
great
was
film.
believable that John Krasinski was going to play a Die Hard reboot.
yeah, it totally was.
The whole point is that it's supposed to be an
Moonlighting,
everyman,
The
not some
Office.
massive beefed up steroided guy like Arnold Schwarzenegger that's going to
Rumor
take on these
is-
terrorists.
This
He
was supposed to be
was
Commando
thought of.
too.
Yes, I understand, but the fact that it was Bruce Willis made it better and made it stand out in all these other movies where you just have Stallone or Schwarzenegger or Lundgren or whatever. It sets itself apart that way.
Lundgren, come on, he wasn't leading anything.
I understand. I was just trying to think of names off the top of my head. But
He-Man, the other film that helped kill Cannon.
here's the thing. Here's the thing with this movie that when you talk about it as an action movie, comparing it to these other action movies of the 80s, like Todd, you have a very good point. Like this was one of the films that showed a studio you don't need to have a massive beefed up whatever to have an action movie. When this was coming out, I believe it was laughed at because people were like, the guy from Moonlighting? Really? And then it proved, hey, this actually worked really well. And the thing that I appreciate these action movies, I'll say the first three, maybe the fourth. The fifth one was terrible. But
So was the fourth one.
well, no, it wasn't as bad as the fifth.
Never
The fifth
thought.
was bad. The fourth one actually had some good moments.
I'm going to tell you you're wrong. That PG-13 piece of shit is not any
That's
good.
why you watch the R-rated version, Todd.
He
Duh.
just says the MFer on it. That's the only difference. I don't.
Anyway, moving on.
Sorry.
I
I really don't
At
like
least
anything.
it tries to follow the formula. And when I say follow the formula, make McClane seem vulnerable, right? Every one of the I'll go with the first three. How about that? In each of the three movies, when we see there's always somebody McClane has to fight who's better than him and stronger than him at fighting, but he finds a way to win, right? He finds a way to escape the fight, or he finds a way to defeat whatever, but he's always outskilled in these fights. Whereas you're so used to seeing these giant action stars, anybody that comes to them is not a threat, right? This was the one that stood out, at least for me, watching, seeing all these action movies and then seeing this one was like, wow, what's going to happen to this dude? I don't know if he's going to survive because he doesn't look like and at the very end of the movie, he all scabbed up. He looks like complete hell, right? Now, let's get into the favorite moments because I was about to delve into something that I promised was going to be delved into later. So I'm just going to say favorite moments instead of funniest moments, but I will say, jumping in here, this was re-released in theaters earlier this month. And well, it's January now, but it was released in December, second week of December, I believe. And the line that got the crowd laughing the most was after McClane throws the C4 to the bottom of the building, and then in comes I'm blanking on his name right now. Dean Warmer. Dwayne T. Robertson. I only remember his name in the movie or whatever. But he picks up and he says, "I'm in charge here." You're in charge. I'm not the one who just got, screwed on TV. That made the entire theater laugh, right? So as a funniest moment, that had to be it. But in terms of seeing that particular scene in the theater, because when I first saw the movie and the explosion happening, and I remember when we first got a subwoofer and speakers, that was the first thing I put on, and I just went. If I got home early, like from school, like you coming home from high school, whatever, and I got home before anybody else was home, I just pop in Die Hard just for that scene and crank the volume all the way up. And that's it. It wasn't as good when it happened to the theater. I was like, this is exactly the moment I wanted when I was a kid, because so that whole sequence of that C4 and the subsequent, I'm not the one who just got screwed on national TV. That combination there of high action and then like a high comedic line, I think worked well. Greg, do you have a favorite moment from this movie? Is it the end credits?
I wouldn't go that far. I mean, it wasn't atrocious. It just wasn't my cup of tea. But Alan Rickman's fantastic as always. But I do have to say, the moment where at the end of the film where John McClane and Carl Winslow lock eyes and like they finally get to meet each other. He will always be Carl Winslow. I'm sorry. When
Reginald Bell Johnson.
I hated that show. Just so everyone knows, I hate.
Dare you?
No, it's a thing. Yeah, can't say.
That's fair. So when they like got to finally meet, like that was really like that did feel like two like guys who have gone through the same like crazy issue and like finally get to cross paths. Like I did feel like that was a very well like acted out scene, like the emotion, the intensity, the relief, the struggle, like all of that was in that moment. Like I was like, all right, well played,
Okay.
So
Okay, so just to clarify, your favorite part was at the end.
Well, yes, but not because it was ending. Yes.
Okay, all right. Todd?
There's so much good stuff in this.
There is.
I mean, the fall is iconic. It's hard but
right.
It got a good reaction in the theater. When Bonnie Bedelia gets to punch old Dickless is a good reaction.
Right.
Because like you're like, you don't mess with the kids. So
yeah.
Right, exactly. So now, I mean, it's clear and obvious for me that this is like beyond 5. If I was able to give beyond 5, but I'm only able to give a maximum of 5. So it is a 100% 5 from me. Todd?
I'm also a 5. I do watch this every year.
Got it.
During
Greg.
Christmas time.
All right, I'm just kidding, Ozzy. No,
I knew it. I freaking knew it.
I'm not. No.
Dang it! Got me twice.
It's like it's decent. Like, don't get me wrong. I just feel it's another action flick. There's some good moments, some decent acting.
I'm not gonna throw any chairs.
I'm gonna give it I'm at least gonna give it a 2.5. Like, just because it's better than most action.
I retract my last statement.
But it's still. I mean, it's still just okay. Like it's
okay.
Not
right.
bad.
Okay.
Not bad.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. All right.
A solid C+.
Look, here's
it's just not my cup of tea. Like
I understand it's not, but I don't think you're looking at this objectively.
Okay.
Because comparing, I mean, okay,
maybe you pushing your Christmas propaganda pushed them too far the other way. Sort of like when someone tells you to watch something that you'll like, you're just like, ugh.
No, but 9 times out of 10, it's because it's a newer movie. If it was a classic, a Christmas classic.
Well,
I mean,
it's came up in our Discord. The people are starting to turn on A Christmas Story now too.
Really?
Everyone starts to, yeah. So
Interesting.
we'll get to that, just stuff after.
Sure. So let's.
What'd you
Okay.
give it? What'd you give it, Ozzy? A 4?
No, you know what I gave it. Greg's the one that gave it half our scores. He gave it a 2.5.
It's all right.
Okay.
I'm not gonna.
Okay.
I'm not gonna shame someone for not liking something I like.
It's not a matter of not liking. I think there needs to be a matter of understanding that this movie, in terms of an action movie compared to other action movies, stands out. I mean, primarily, just think about it this way: if there was a
Speed
trivia
was
question,
a better action movie.
excuse me,
Speed.
He did say Speed 2, so
That's
you mean the original Die Hard 3 was better than Die Hard 1?
well, that's actual arguable. I can see that. Anyway,
You
back
must
to this
really
movie.
just like Keanu Reeves.
If there was a trivia question, be like, who shot the last terrorist in Die Hard? You would not say John McClane. You would specifically say Carl Winslow. That moment came. It was set up well.
Spoilers.
It's 1988. If you haven't seen this movie, get out from under that rock you're living in already. I mean, this is practically streaming everywhere. But the character development of him, and just like the story you heard, and his wife is pregnant at home, and it's more than just an ancillary character than in all the other action movies where one guy does everything, And again, going back to where you see the primary protagonist being vulnerable, which is something rare in movies around that time, action movies around that time, because action stars were seen as impenetrable and impervious to everything, when you literally see John McClane breaking down nearly in tears, saying thinking he's not going to see his wife again, and I should have supported her more.
Oh, you know what? I'm going to turn on this movie because he's like the Rey Mysterio. He brought all these little guys, and now we're saw the men fight. Now, see, I'm going to lower my rating if I think about this too much now.
welcome, Todd. Welcome to reality.
If you want to continue to be delusional, that is totally up to you. But let's get into the fun part of the Christmas movie aspect of it. Okay. Now, I don't know if we want to go back and forth on this, because
we kind of made it
started. Because I mean, go ahead. Sorry.
We kind of made a thing about where I lie, because I just kind of tuck in the movie again and kind of like finally have my answer.
Yeah.
So you want me to kick it off with that?
Yes.
Okay. After seeing Die Hard again,
Yes.
again on the big screen after the first time in long ass time, since its original run, I think it's a summer movie.
Yes.
First and foremost.
No, it's okay. You can be wrong. That's fine.
No. I'm 100% right. It is 100% made to be a summer blockbuster. If you're telling me it wasn't, you're lying to yourself. Now,
even the screenplay writer says it's a Christmas movie.
Well, the screenplay writer isn't the author of the book.
Booyah,
So
he wrote a screenplay as an adaptation of a book.
Right.
And so it was adapted to be a Christmas movie. Let me ask you this. What's the name of... Hold on. No, just answer some questions for me. Answer some questions for me.
You're arguing with me and I'm not even done.
Okay. I just got some questions. That's all.
Well, no. It was made first and foremost as that. The fact that people are making it more Christmassy... I want to say making it more Christmassy. Locking onto that and watching it yearly. There's nothing wrong with that. It can be a Christmas movie to you. That's fine.
Yeah.
But it was designed to be a summer blockbuster.
Yeah, and Q-tips weren't designed to go in the ear, but how many people use that to clean their ears out?
Well, people can be wrong, as you like to say, Ozzy.
I know. And here's my thing. Here are my questions. What's the name of John McClane's wife?
Bonnie.
In the film.
Oh, I forget.
Holly.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's random, right? Tell me, Michael Kamen, composer, what's the first instrument he used in the opening credits? The first instrument you hear in the entire movie when it comes to score.
What?
Sleigh bells. Can you also tell me what is happening at the very end of the film?
Are you going to try to do the snow thing?
I'm asking questions.
Yes,
I'm asking questions. That's all I'm doing.
There is Christmas imagery.
Themed.
Yes.
Winter themed.
I know it's.
Holy
I will say it's Christmas. It
Toledo.
happens at a Christmas party, and all that stuff.
And it
see,
wouldn't
Do
be
we
able to
know-
happen
Do we know
without.
if end results are after
yeah.
midnight?
I'm sorry.
Do we know if the end results are after midnight? Do we hit Christmas Day, or is everything?
Oh, look at that.
Christmas Eve.
Never thought I'd say it, but I'm with Ozzy. I mean, I was just asking questions. You're the one to answer them. So,
So
And,
does
yes.
this
Oh, we
end
got-
on Christmas Day, or is it still Christmas Eve?
I'm going to say it's after midnight, but everyone else in the chat, Christmas movie, not a Christmas movie. Now, I'm fine calling it a Christmas movie, but Ozzy was already yelling at me. I'm just saying it was not
Be
set
strong,
out.
Todd.
No, it was. There was no. The studio wasn't setting out to make a Christmas movie. Bruce Willis, who says it's not a Christmas movie,
he said that as a joke because he called it a Bruce Willis movie. You cannot use that.
oh, it doesn't matter because he doesn't remember. So,
Oh,
That's. I do not
Oh.
condone that joke, ladies. And
I
gentlemen.
do. It's funny.
I was gonna say Kevin Smith smiling somewhere,
yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah.
but no. See, because a lot of the movies I consider Christmas movies are questionable, like Trading Places. Obviously, is one.
Also, summer release, I believe.
I'd have to look on that, but I believe that comedy makes sense. See, they didn't even sell it as a Christmas movie because Christmas factor is irrelevant.
Outside of the ho 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 moment, yeah.
Yeah, they
Isn't
had
the
to
whole-
put
I'm sorry. Was it a New Year's party they were at, or?
they had to put
Could have
Christmas
been.
decorations up on set.
Let me ask you this: the final scene of the movie,
Mhm.
John McClane tapes a gun to his back.
Okay.
We've tried.
Why
this
is
in-
that tape there?
Well, if any
Because
building
it's an
that
office building.
well, not only that, they're building it.
That's it's Christmas wrapping tape. It says Holly all over it.
I thought it said
That was
Holly.
next to wrapping paper.
As-
If it was
yes,
not Christmas time, if it was not
office
Christmas time, that
buildings-
wouldn't be there, and
It'd
the
be a-
climax wouldn't have been
It
able to happen.
would
We
just
would
be
have
like
not seen
duct
Alan
tape
Rickman
or-
thrown off the tower.
It would have been a roll of duct tape because they're in a building that they're putting together. It would have been duct tape or masking tape or any kind of tape
Electrical
because they
tape,
were
But
in
it,
the
but
middle
it
of
was
construction.
not. But it was
But
not.
yeah,
In the
but I'm
story
saying-
that we were told, it was Christmas wrapping paper, and the story that we
Because
were
it was
told in
winter.
that particular floor that he was on, which was the vault, they would have not had duct tape or masking tape right there because there was no construction being done in that last scene where he was at.
But they would have made that. You know,
But they didn't because they went with Christmas wrapping paper because they knew
With-
secretly
with-
20 or 30 years from now, people are going to argue that this is a Christmas movie. And that's how we get an action movie. as a
Argue
Christmas
because
movie.
they knew in their heart of hearts that it's not, but it could be perceived as that.
That's
so the
not true, because-
controversy's going to go ahead and drum up some support.
Not at all. They could have, no, not at all. They could have just easily just done the duct
'Cause
tape. End of the
Ozzy
day.
knows what they intended.
When it comes to Die Hard, I do.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
What holiday? I mean, what other holiday could it take place on and made sense? What other
Why does
holiday
it need to
would?
be a holiday?
yeah, could you
Because it's a holiday party, and here's a reason he's going home for Christmas to see his kids. Hopefully, that's the
Well,
goal.
he
Oh,
was
'cause a
trying.
Nobody
dad
goes
can't
in.
go see his
Nobody comes.
kids on
Oh, you know what?
another
Hold on
day?
a second. No. No one has an Easter party. Oh, for Easter, I'm gonna go home to the West Coast and try
But
to
he
see
was
my
trying to
family.
reconcile with his wife.
Yeah.
Any reason he could have used the fly out. It could have been the weekend and he wanted to see his kids.
But it was Christmas. It was the
I
time for
understand
miracles.
what it
Yes,
was,
like
but
he
it
says,
didn't need to be.
Theo,
time.
it's Christmas. It's a time for miracles. This is a hill I'm dying on. So we're at a stalemate. I don't care.
We are.
I see that's the problem. You're having an argument with me, and I'm not even opposing.
No, I'm arguing
you.
with Greg because I can see the look on his face and I can see him smiling.
Yeah, he is.
And I swear to God, if Kevin Smith didn't have an issue with Bruce Willis, he would totally be fine with this.
Yeah, let me see if I can find anything.
Maybe.
Are we? Is anything else we'd like to touch on? Because
I'm double checking the
said-
chat, see if there's anything.
I mean, I pointed out all my facts, the facts that were in the movie: sleigh
Opinions.
bells, wrapping tape.
On
Here,
how
I'm
to
gonna
bring
I'm
the
gonna-
facts.
Ollie.
I'm gonna send you what Cliff Booth.
Oh, now I have to
posted-
read something.
You do, but I'm gonna let you. These are like points you. I'm going to send it to you right now, Ozzy. I'm going to let you read it. Don't pre-read it, so you won't
Okay.
know where we're going. It's not. I'm not setting you up. Don't worry. There's no like secret R jokes or anything in there. I DM'd it to you. All right. I believe.
Is this a cold read I'm doing?
Yeah, Cliff's in the
Christmas
chat.
and Christmas movies are oriented on the importance of family togetherness and selfless service. John McClane's motivation in traveling to Los Angeles, bearing gifts, by the way, is to reconcile with his estranged family. So right from the start, McClane's desire to reunite with his loved ones on Christmas aligns with the meaning of the holiday and is perfect starting point for a Christmas movie. Greg,
Starting
how are you?
point potentially. However, when he originally went there, it wasn't. He even says later, he's like, "She's never heard me say sorry." He like doesn't go for those purposes. Like, so it just
But I
happens to
thought
be
Christmas
around.
time is the time where you like look introspectively and think, maybe I'm being a jerk.
Yeah, but it's not because of the
Can I,
holidays. It's because he's about to
can
die.
I finish?
He
Can I
thinks
finish?
he's gonna
Can I
die.
finish? Can I finish? Can I finish?
This isn't even Ozzy's thoughts.
These aren't even. I'm just I'm providing a voice to the voiceless. No. Yeah. So
calm down.
and then let's see. It's a perfect starting point for a Christmas movie using another holiday. 4th of July, per an example, would not be as meaningful and would be less effective on an emotional level. That's why they didn't write it that way. Second point, the personification of greed, a Scrooge, is Hans Gruber, stands in the way of his goal. For the good of his wife and all the other hostages, he undertakes the likely fatal responsibility of saving the day. Third point, so we have a character in John McClane whose motivation is the first tenet of Christmas, family togetherness, and he achieves his goal using the second tenet of Christmas, selfless service. And on top of all that, Die Hard is littered with as many or more Christmas references than any other Christmas movie you'll see.
But Hans Gruber is the one who gets his Christmas miracle, and it's supposed to be a Christmas movie.
He doesn't get his plan
he
is
does.
foiled.
It gets foiled at the end, sure, but when they make the comment
foiled
about
at
a
the end.
Christmas miracle having to happen for them to be able to fully access
You
the
ask,
vault,
he says the line, "You ask for miracles, Theo, I give you the FBI."
but
So what
he got
happens?
his miracle.
But
The bad guy.
so if he
gets
was
his
going to steal,
miracle.
so if his goal was to steal Santa's sleigh, and
Daily
the reindeer
Ghost-
take off, but then they fall off, and he crashes in the ground, that's not a successful theft of Santa's sleigh.
Daily Ghost has an issue with any other Christmas movie you'll see. And I kind of agree with that. I think that takes
be
it
right
a
back.
little too far.
I'll be right back, and this is going to be the end point. Anybody who
If
has an
it's
issue or-
something, if it's something Fox put out that says Christmas on it just
Nope,
to make
it
money,
is not
okay.
from Fox. I'll be right
Although
back.
it was a Fox Tower, so
In fact, you know what I'm going to do? How about Todd? Could you go over future things for Flesh Wound Horror, and I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah, future things for Fleshman Horror, because I know what we're doing in January. Well, how was your New Year?
yeah, why not just put you on the spot there? You know, that's fun.
We've started our Femme Fatales. Did I say it right, Dan?
Femme Fatales.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. I always have the E.
I think it should be there.
Yeah, the series, the old Cinemax series, and you can from Flesh Wound After Dark, which is streaming exclusively on Patreon.
Have you seen that thing recently that talks about how Indiana Jones is really a femme fatale?
I have not.
Yeah, look it up. It's got something to do with somehow has a whip, somehow always has his clothes get shredded, all this stuff.
Okay,
so,
we good?
yeah.
We good?
All
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
These words come from Doogie Horner.
Who's that?
I'll find out shortly.
I don't trust.
Was the
anyone
night
named
before
Doogie.
Christmas, and up in the tower, everyone was partying,
God, I know
except
this is-
one wallflower. John McClane missed his wife. Things just weren't the same since Holly had moved west and changed her last name. He tried to win her back, but still she said no. Well, unbeknownst to them, there was trouble down below. A truck had pulled up, and who should disembark but 14 men whose intentions were dark. They spoke not a word and unloaded big crates. They cut the phone lines and locked all the gates. Carl swept the ground floor, shooting every guard dead, while visions of bearer bonds danced in his head. John took off his shoes, making fists with his toes. It actually worked. Well, what do you know? When out in the lobby, there arose such a clatter. He sprung to the door to see what was the matter. When what to his wondering eyes should appear, holy crap, there are terrorists here! John hid under a table where no one could see and watched Hans question Mr. Takagi. I'm going to count to 3. There will not be a 4. Give me the codes to open the vault door. I don't know the codes, so go ahead and shoot. Okay, said Hans Gruber, and ruined Takagi's suit. John tried to call the cops by pulling an alarm, but instead called the bad guys who tried to cause him harm. But John killed Tony, who had very small feet, and sent him to the terrorists as a Yuletide treat. He put on a Santa hat on the German, and eyes all aglow, wrote, "Now I have a machine gun, ho, ho, ho." Carl was furious. Tony was his brother. He chased John across the roof, and they shot at each other. John was able to escape through the ventilation shafts. Come out to the coast, he sighed. We'll have a few laughs. At Nakatomi Tower, Sergeant Powell appeared. He checked the whole lobby and saw nothing weird. He was pulling away but didn't get far before Marco landed on his car. Powell drove away backwards, screaming in fright. "Welcome to the party, pal," John yelled with delight. More police arrived, the FBI and a SWAT team, but Hans didn't mind. It was all part of his scheme. More rapid than eagles, his henchmen they came. He radioed and shouted and called them by name. Now Eddie, now James, now Franco, now Uli. On Fritz and on Carl, hair long and unruly. They shot the SWAT tank with a surface-to-air missile and knocked it away like the down of a thistle. Now John McClane was angry indeed. He blew up 2 terrorists and called them jerkweed. Ellis told Hans, "Booby, I'm your white knight." Hans shot him dead, giving hostages a fright. Hans went to go check on the explosives fuse and saw poor John wasn't wearing any shoes. John fled from Carl and Hans, but alas, he had to run barefoot over sharp, broken glass. His feet, how they hurt, his soles oh so bloody. John crawled to the bathroom and called his good buddy. John was weary and ready to throw in the towel until he got a pep talk from Sergeant Al Powell. Powell was chubby and plump and right jolly old cup, and he trusted the cowboy in the tattered tank top. But a reporter was probing into McClane's life and revealed that Holly was actually John's wife. Hans flipped over the gold picture frame. "It's a pleasure to meet you, Mrs. McClane." His clothes all tarnished with ashes and soot, John staggered to the roof, bloody and barefoot. The explosives were wired to the rooftop with care in hopes that the hostages would soon be there. John warned everyone on the roof would soon blow as the chopper strafed him with high-powered ammo. Around his waist he tied a fire hose tight and, screaming an oath, and jumped into the night. He dangled in the air and gritted his teeth while flames encircled the tower like a wreath. Fiercely fighting his way back inside, John yelled out, "Hans!" He was done trying to hide. He limped to the vault like an old man on crutches, only to find Holly in his filthy clutches. John dropped his gun, put his hands on his head. It seemed he and Holly would soon be dead. But with a secret gun taped to his back, John shot Hans in a surprise attack. Hans fell out the window, still holding Holly's arm, and slowly, deliberately raised his firearm. The tenacious villain held on by his nails till John unhooked Holly's watch and said, "Happy trails." I'm getting to that shortly. Bearer bonds fluttered like fresh fallen snow as Holly embraced her blood-spattered beau. So Merry Christmas to all, be kind to one another, and most of all, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. The only time I'll say that word on this show, and this is from a Die Hard Christmas, which can be available for purchase wherever you purchase your favorite books. I actually found this in a Barnes & Noble bookstore, available on Amazon. Again, this was written by Doogie Horner and illustrated by J.J. Harrison. Fantastic illustrations. I don't want to get too much trouble, so that's why I didn't show the pictures. Reason I'm showing this is I think it's a bit of a Christmas miracle. Then we can take something that was initially deemed a summer movie and find that in actuality, it brings people closer together at Christmas time. And ultimately, at the end of the day, isn't Christmas about being together?
Oh, and books aren't ever, written to appease conspiracy theories and capitalize on idiots.
Doogie was the name of a teenage doctor, all right? And on that note, I think
fictional doctor.
I do want to say you're still missing the whole point of what I was saying, Ozzy.
Listen. I was just trying to find it out. If my out was the whole point, bring people closer together. If we're closer together arguing about a movie, we're still closer together. But I think my point is that we pretty much exhausted all our opinions. We haven't.
Well, just let me finish. You're still. It may not have started out as a Christmas movie, but the people who love it and make it a Christmas movie, because people are going to argue with me, Silent Night, Deadly Night is not a Christmas movie. F you, it is 100%. But that's because what it is to me. So
Violent Night as well.
Yeah, well, same problem.
You haven't seen that.
It's no Silent Night, Deadly Night, but
sure, but okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a traditional Christmas movie, and by the reasons of what you read, it doesn't qualify. But that doesn't discount it to me. So that's all I'm saying. While I don't believe this was intended to be a Christmas movie, it's been embraced as one.
That's literally what I just said after reading the book. I said that despite
being
released in the summer, I said despite being released in the summer and intended to be a summer movie, I think this movie has shown and proven to us that this can all bring us together. And ultimately, isn't that what Christmas is all about? That's what I was trying to end it on. So I took your opinion into consideration when coming up with my response.
He's just saying he's arguing with me, not you, Todd. That's
exactly. My argument is always with Greg on this. Till with the day we die, and then probably beyond the grave, we'll have this argument. But my side has a Christmas Carol story about it, so I don't know what you got.
What?
Facts. That's what I got.
And facts are that certain people aren't real, and you really want to make children cry, Greg?
Yes.
It's really sad.
Yes.
I apologize, and I'm sorry for your Grinch-like heart.
Well, I don't think anyone in our Discord has. Yeah, they're smartened up on the old guy in the red suit, so we're good.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm just being facetious at this point.
I understand.
Because it's slightly point of delirious. This is probably one of our longest episodes we've ever recorded.
Yeah.
So I think we're all pretty good to go in terms of we've gotten all our things out. At this point, we're just doing some pointless arguing. So any final thoughts on this film? Because we've said all our thoughts, so we have no final thoughts. So once again, sorry, go ahead. Sorry,
my final thought is Gremlins is a better Christmas movie.
Oh God!
You know what? I'll agree with Todd because it makes Greg upset. So I'll say, Gremlins is the second greatest Christmas movie of all time. Because for me, it's going to be this movie. It's going to be my favorite movie, one of my favorite movies of all time. If Indiana Jones took place at Christmas time, Indiana Jones would be my favorite Christmas movie. I don't care. Anyhow.
Even if it was Crystal Skull?
Actually, that would probably make it more look like National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation at Cousin Eddie's Island Adventure.
You guys should
go ahead.
Check out Eyes Wide Shut if you want some new Christmas content. There you go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so final thoughts. We're good on this. Anything else before we head out? Okay, fantastic. No. Ladies and gentlemen, for world famous juggler Greg Larson and Fleshroom producer Todd, I'm Ozzy V, and we'll see you next week right here on a brand new episode of Flesh Wound Farce.
Actually, we're going to make this even more so the longest episode ever because you're right, Ozzy. I am messing with you. This movie is a 5. I've actually
Wait, are we not done recording?
No,
we're
not
still
done
recording right now?
Yeah,
Holy
yeah.
Toledo.
It's
Hold on,
a-
wait a second. You've been
is-
screwing with this for 45 minutes? You've been screwing with me? I knew it. I said this at the beginning that this was going to be a thing, and you tried to swerve me and say, oh, no, dude, you did a double swerve. Now it's a triple swerve.
That's right. Triple swerve.
The whole, like, I probably, to be honest, had you not been the way you were, I wouldn't have brought out the book and did that whole rendition of it. And this is recorded for everybody to see too. So that was a fun ruse. I knew there was something weird.
Yes, I love this movie. I think it actually is one of the greatest action movies of all time. 100% of 5. And also, I've actually been turned. I can see it as a Christmas movie. So, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's, everybody. There you go, Ozzy.
Yeah, I did. Congratulations. Applause for world famous juggler Greg Larson.
Thank you.
And now world famous ruse artist. Wow, that was brilliant. You held that on longer than just about a face character set from Disneyland. So kudos to you. All right,
sir.
now, so the real final thoughts. I mean,
Yes.
we pretty much exhausted everything, even Greg's faux final thoughts. But he just said his final thoughts, so I think we're good to go.
Yeah.
All right. Once again, Flesh Wound producer Todd, world famous juggler Greg Larson. I'm Ozzy V. We'll see you next week right here on a brand new episode of Flesh Wound Farce.